We've never actually had vampire slayers on the Film Threat podcast, so it's about time that we did. Welcome to the Film Threat podcast. I am Chris Gore. I am pleased that you are watching this or listening to this. Happy whatever day it is. You know what day it is? It's Blur's Day. Because who knows what day it is when you're in day 160 of 15 days to slow the spread. That's the world that we're living in. But I'm excited to talk to two filmmakers who have made a movie that, I don't know, it feels like they brought a little of the 80s to the present day. Let's talk to Ari Schneider and Ryan Barton-Grimley. They are the filmmakers behind Hawk and Rev, Vampire Slayers. So happy you guys are here on the Film Threat podcast. Yeah.
Thank you for having us, sir. Appreciate it.
Well, I'm excited because I saw your movie sort of came through our pipeline here at Film Threat. I'm fortunate enough to get to see movies early, which I feel very, very lucky to do that. And it just spoke fun to me. I mean, this looks like, it's definitely like, I know the movie is set present day-ish, but it feels like an 80s exploitation, super fun, rude, doesn't care, like an 80s horror film. I'm sure that's what you were going for.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, you did it.
It does. Yeah. I mean, it does kind of take place present day, but like there's so many tropes that are, especially even the phone that Brian's character uses at one point to burn. It's like it just doesn't, nothing makes sense in the timeline there because it's all throwbacks. I'll let the director explain it better.
I mean,
yeah.
No, I mean, we're trying to make a mashup of all of our favorite 80s movies and then kind of add some current, social flair to it in some kind of way, and keep it contemporary in terms of some of the way the issues are framed. But I mean, we're super big fans of the 80s. We're kids of the 80s. Well, I'm a kid of the 80s. Ari's he's early 90s, I would say. But there's a lot of early 90s in it too. So,
well, it definitely has that. What I like is in an age where we live at a time now where movies are made where a bunch of boxes have to get ticked, right? And this movie sort of ticks one box, which is entertaining. So thank you for that. Number one.
You're welcome.
There's only one box you need to tick.
No, that was
entertaining.
Yeah.
That's the box. You know, you can have other stuff in the movie and you do mix in stuff that feels very contemporary, but at the same time, like an ode to a genre, a beloved genre, which is like an 80s fun horror film that doesn't take itself too seriously. Right.
Yeah. So, we're going for midnight movie, cult movie. Our whole slogan the entire time has been follow the fun. And it goes from the script to the way we shot it to the way that Ari and Robbie scored it. I mean, we go from 80s John Carpenter all the way to rip off Beyonce tracks. I mean,
that was a good way of describing it.
Following the fun, man.
Well, not just that, it's pretty, I mean, it's way over the top gory. When I say this, I mean, there's I don't know. You obviously had you had to have had a garden hose or something.
We had pressurized fire extinguishers and plastic trash cans of homemade blood and really bad prosthetics. Just poorly done, and then we just cover it with more blood and then add CGI blood, and right in the middle of it, Ari's cracking jokes. So it's it's exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, I think the only thing that might have more blood is Tokyo Gore Police. I don't know if you remember that.
Right.
That's got the over the top blood, but you got
Gore.
You nailed it. I want to ask about the film. It's premiered recently at Dances with Films, which is in Los Angeles. I'm a big fan of that festival because they tend to champion independent films that aren't necessarily, I think a lot of film festivals feel obligated to champion movies that address social issues, and I love that. I love that. You know, like it's like the eat your vegetables of movies, right? Like they're important. And
Totally.
I do it my vegetables, but this film festival champions movies that go beyond that, and your film did that. What is it like now though? In we live in lockdown land, lockdown land, whatever, to have your movie premiere at a virtual festival. I really want to know what that's like, because I've been to so many film festivals in my time, but the virtual festival, I just want to know what that's like for you guys. Just tell me what that experience is like.
It's super weird. I mean,
That's what I thought.
they did an amazing job of trying to work out this technical masterpiece. And it's still really tough. And, you know, we were doing a Q&A at 1:30 in the morning after we premiered midnight of the opening night of the festival. And we were kind of sitting there like we couldn't see any of the audience. We're trying to answer questions, but it does feel super strange. Weirdly, though, I think people from all over the world watch the movie. So maybe like people from Brazil, we were supposed to world premiere at Fantaspoa, which is this huge horror festival. It's the largest Latin American film festival. And, you know, COVID really hit them hard. So hopefully we're going to play next year just as kind of out of competition, fun midnight movie, because they're amazing. And we would have all gotten tattoos, but we did Dances with Films, thankfully still put on a festival, because everybody else has basically canceled. I mean, they say they're postponing, but it's not really true. So.
Right. I just, you know, at a time when, I mean, we used to have a studio where we would do these interviews, and, you know, assuming our studio was open, you guys would have come to the studio.
Right.
And now we're not doing that. Now everything is a Zoom call. Right. So I just wonder, like, how we were talking before we started recording, like sort of the fatigue of this.
Yeah.
How, like, you know, I mean, it's not like the deck isn't already stacked against you just for making an independent film, right? Like that just comes with its own set of challenges, making an independent film. But now add a global pandemic on that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I think you got to be like, I mean, you know, be grateful for what is, right? I mean, because, you know, at the end of the day, we're so happy that I love Dances with Films as a festival. They're great. And when they took Hawk and Rev, I was like, they're going to take Hawk. And then I saw they had the Midnight series thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. And then it's like, you know, I've been to it before where they had the Man's Chinese Theater that, you know, so you get like the red carpet and, you know, that whole experience. And I remember feeling like, oh, you know, a little bummed we're not going to do that. But at the same time, like, well, I'm not leaving my house right now. So like, let alone I'm going to go on a red carpet, you know? So I think that just knowing that, hey, you know, people are going to enjoy it. You know, you want to hear the laughs. You want to see people laugh. You want to soak up that. I think anybody who's doing stand-up or doing improv or doing any sort of stuff via Zoom right now is definitely feeling that weird thing of not getting that endorphin rush of having, you know, that appreciation come right at you. And we would have loved that, I think, the most. I think that for me, definitely, just to see. But
professional athletes. I mean, I don't know if you've tried to watch any sports, but it's
so weird.
It's very, it's awkward. Yeah.
I know this guy this weekend, he was like, hey man, I can't talk to you right now. I've got to go do my fantasy football draft. I'm like, fantasy football? Are they having a football season? He's like, oh yeah. I'm like, oh, they must be doing the thing that the NBA is doing in a bubble. No, they're just gonna go for it. I'm like, what?
Really? That'll be interesting. Look, I'm a big fan of the NFL. I mean, it's my favorite sport to watch. I try to go one NFL game a year live to see. But sports, the MLB and NBA, it's just, that's why I'm looking at that and I'm going, well, what's a virtual film festival like? You know, in comparison, it really just shows you the energy in the room. And you know, from doing improv, the energy in the room is so important. I feel like that energy, especially for the NBA, because the NBA is probably the most intimate sport, right? I mean, MLB, you're kind of spread out, NFL, but NBA is very intimate. You're close with all those, like that energy can actually, influence a win, right? I mean,
the most surreal moment for me is I'm like sitting in my office at like 12:45, drinking a glass of wine, watching Hawk and Rev, laughing by myself. And going, oh my God, I've seen that joke 50 times and I'm still laughing by myself. What is going on?
Yeah. There's
it's weird. I mean, they were kind of the guinea pigs. I feel like, Dance with Films, they worked their butt off to try to, I mean, they had a lounge, they had people mixing drinks, and I gotta give the hats off to them, man. I mean, they really tried to pull together, and they do make you feel special, and they do,
They did.
but yeah, I mean, it's just a testament to kind of like, we're all in this together. We're all experiencing this weird, different thing together. And I think I'm just grateful that people got an opportunity to watch it and that they like the movie.
That's an interesting thing though. Like people were messaging us who were watching the movie.
Yeah.
Unmotivated feedback. Like, I was actually laughing a lot of the movie, dude. I didn't need the audience, which is
interesting.
Cool. That's kind of cool. Cause that, a lot of times you're like, God, I hope people start laughing. Do we have a ringer? Put a ringer in that audience.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And it didn't have that. And it kind of just, the movie lived on its own 2 feet, which, I mean, I guess is all you can hope for. It's what you wish for.
Well, I think it's also like, it's a great drive-in movie. Like drive-in movies, I think, are a very specific thing. I know that they've been trying to, release films at drive-ins, and I think certain movies work at the drive-in and certain movies do not. Like, Sophie's Choice would not be good at the drive-in. That's just not a.
That day would end right away. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be.
Moonlight at the drive-in. No.
Schindler's List would not be a good drive-in movie, although it does have a lot of full frontal nudity. Schindler's List.
That's true.
We have nudity in ours as well. But it's just us. It's us. It's our butts though. So that's it. I'm just not good. You know what? I'm going to stop right there.
No, but I mean, we talked about having female nudity, and we're like, no, it's not earned. The only
it's not earned. No,
that's earned in this movie is these two idiots being left on the side of the road naked.
Well, I think that's also like a trope of like an 80s is you got like nudity, right? You got like
random.
And just and there's a tone, and you really hit that tone. So now that it's premiered at Dances with Films, and what are your plans rolling it out, getting the word out for people to see it? Obviously, I think that this would make a good film to see at a drive-in. It's got all the makings of a drive-in movie.
Totally. So I mean, we're gonna play New Orleans Horror Fest. We're playing San Antonio. We got about 20 other festival bites. We're going back and forth on playing digitally. The amazing thing that Dances with Films did is that they used the same DRM technology that Netflix uses. So you don't have to worry about piracy and all this stuff. Whereas some of these other festivals, they haven't really figured it all out, and some of them are pretty big, which is kind of crazy. But, at this point, I immediately Monday was just emailing our producer's rep, Glenn at Circus Road, who sold so many wonderful indie movies over, the last 30 years. And I was like, dude, just please get us out before the holidays. Because I feel like everybody's going to be trapped inside between basically right after Halloween all the way through January. We're all going to be kind of depressed. There's an election. We're all going to need to laugh. Let's please get this thing available on as many platforms as possible, not for the good of us, but for everyone else at this point.
Well, you're in a unique position because the world, as you just pointed out, the world needs content like bad. Yeah. Like the world really, really wants content. And I was talking to someone who works at Sundance and a lot of the festivals that are next year, and they're concerned that their submissions are going to be down dramatically.
Yeah.
Because filmmakers have not
I'm
been
going to hit them up for the Midnight series. I'm just saying. I'm going to be like, yeah, we already premiered, but you know what? People really like to laugh at this movie. You may as well play it just for fun. I'm definitely I'm gonna throw that out there.
They may have to bend some of those rules. So I'm just curious to see what the film festival circuit will be like in 2021 and where the content pipeline, is going to be. I mean, certainly, like, I always check, what is new indie on VOD. That's like a section, right? So I always go to that to see, like, well, what do I not know about? You can get movies for $10. $10. Like, it's like so worth it, it's cheaper than a ticket to the theater and I own the movie. I mean, like, it's awesome.
Totally.
So, I have a large digital movie collection. That's
awesome.
I can brag about
it. VHS. I'm just saying, I'm a big fan of the hard media.
VHS is gonna make a comeback, but this, so you've got someone that's repping you to just try and get it out there. Is the goal? I kind of felt. Correct me if I'm wrong. Are you setting up a series? Is this going to be a series?
Yes, I mean, so I definitely had a sequel and then a kind of wrap it up third battle royale in mind and outlined, but I didn't pull the plug on actually doing that hard work of putting the scripts out there, just because I wasn't sure. Like, one, it's a risky tone we were trying to get, and we did an initial shoot. We did multiple pickup shoots on a shoestring. Ari and Robbie were working on the score for a while to really hone that in, and because it's a weird tone, and we're so thankful that people are responding to it in the way that we wanted, and we were able to, quote unquote, hit the tone right. But I was worried, so I was like, maybe I should wait. But yes, we have. I'm not sure there are things we can shoot during COVID, because we got to shoot a lot of blood. We've got to battle. We've got to actually slay a lot more, I think. And
I want Rev to have like just one long tracking fight scene too, because I don't want to spoil anything, but something happens with Rev and I want him to, I've been meaning to talk to you, Ryan, about that, but we should watch Blade a bit, because I want to do some choreograph.
Rival Daredevil.
I'm half kidding.
I feel like, though, you have to finish the trilogy. You've got to do the sequel that's sort of like, that is like the bad sequel to like an 80s film. And then when you do the third film, has to be set 20 years after the second film.
I love it.
In the future. So it's basically, but it's like, when they wait too long to make the third movie, like the third Bill and Ted, which I really enjoyed that third Bill and Ted.
It's great. I actually really want to see it. Yeah.
It's great. Just like your film, it ticks one box, right? It's not super preachy or annoying. It's super fun. But like most of those, Bill and Ted doesn't fit this, but most of those where they waited too long to make the third film, they never work. They never work. But that's why I feel like you could lean into that and sort of play with that concept. That would be a lot of fun.
Well, I feel like part of the trap of making even the first movie is just overthinking it. So we're like, all the fun, like something happens to Rev's character at the end of Hawk and Rev, Vampire Slayers, which kind of sets up a whole new storyline. And in my fantasy, something happens to Hawk at the end of part 2 that sets up a whole new supernatural storyline. And that, I'd love to make one where, 90% of it is funny gore. Like, I don't know. Why not? If we can, and if people are up for laughing and people love gore, why the heck not? No one else is going to do it. So
you guys have to do it. You have to finish the trilogy.
It's been said.
Hawk and Rev, you created the characters, and now they have to. There's got to be the box set.
We franchised ourselves, and we got to live up to it now.
Well, funny. There's this guy. He's sort of like a independent film podcaster and educator guy, And I was listening to him about 6 months ago when we were in post, and he was talking to this guy about this awesome campy movie he had made, and he was like, "What are you doing next?" And the guy described this like literally like a Sophie's Choice type drama, and I was like, "Oh my God, we are not going to do that. We are not doing that."
No, we did drama already. We had a little bit more fun with this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, don't get too serious then. But this is great. Well, look, you guys got to come back when the movie is in commercial release.
Yes, sir.
It's I mean, just hitting the festival circuit now. Hopefully, we're in release before the end of 2020. If there's some hope or light at the end of 2020, it would be the release of Hawk and Rev.
That's what everyone should look forward to. Absolutely. And then the vaccine. But then
yes.
Yeah, because Hawk and Rev 2, we need to see in a theater for real.
Yeah. Or the
Thank you, man.
I really think drive-in has got to be
a
strategy, or even a pop-up. I know they do the rooftop cinema in Hollywood.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
Yeah.
The guy Christian Maioli, who owns the Arena Cine Lounge, he's setting the drive-in behind the Cine Lounge.
Oh.
I didn't know that.
There's a parking lot back there that holds like 40 cars, and he's just fully turning it into a.
Dude, I love that guy. That guy does so much for film in LA.
Yeah, I did a podcast with him. We talked about it.
Awesome.
For Arena Cine Lounge, but yeah, like just whatever, just get it to a drive-in, at least some sort of drive-in screening.
Yes.
Wow. So Ari, Ryan, I got to thank you for being on the Film Threat podcast. And I also want to thank our sponsor, Storyblocks. If you go to storyblocks.com/film threat, you want to get into filmmaking. This is or content creation of any kind. It's an amazing resource. We use it at Film Threat, actually. It's stock footage.
I use it.
Oh, do you use it for the movie?
Yeah, totally.
There's special effects and stuff on it. Yeah, so you use all sorts of effects. Okay, so you used it for Hawk and Rev, so you know Storyblocks. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I love it.
No, I love it. Yeah, so they are sponsoring our podcast. So
that's fantastic.
Awesome.
Full circle.
We got to have you guys back on the podcast because this was awesome. And
thank you, man.
When you do a drive-in screening, I want to go to it. So you got to.
It's a date. We're doing it,
and we'll get the word. Awesome.
Awesome.
All right, take care.
Thank you, guys.
Take care, man. Thank you so much.